Welcome to this GED Math Booster video. The topic of today's video involves a problem with angles and intersecting lines. Let's take a look at our problem. For two intersecting straight lines, if angle A is 147 degrees, they want to know what angle C is as well as angle D. Before we get into the problem, I want to talk about the properties of two intersecting lines and the angles they create. Here's another set of intersecting lines, and I have labeled the four angles that get created as 1 through 4. As you can see, that will allow us to talk about the properties of those angles relative to each other. The first is that opposite angles are equal. Angle 1 and angle 3 are equal to each other. We could note that with this little symbol, this little angle symbol, angle 1 equals angle 3. Now, angles 2 and 4 are also opposite, so those must be equal as well. And we could write that as such. Angle 4 equals angle 2. The order is not important there. The other important rule is that the adjacent, or you might think of it as next door angle, those two angles will always add up to 180 degrees. Now, angles 1 and 2 are next to each other, so those must add up to 180 degrees, and that's what makes them form a straight line when they are together. Angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. We could also say that angles 2 and 3 are next to each other. Those also add up to 180. As do angles 3 and 4, and 4 and 1. So every set of angles that are next to each other will add up to 180 degrees. These properties will allow us to solve this problem. Our problem is asking first for angle C, and we note that angle C is opposite angle A, so those two must be equal. Angle A is 147 degrees, so angle C must also be 147 degrees. Let's move on to angle D. Angle D has a different relationship with our angle A. It is next door to angle A. That means they must add up to 180. So if angle A is 147 degrees, we can find D by using that same technique we've used with triangles before. We take the angle that we know, 147 degrees, we subtract it from 180, and that gives us the degrees that must be left over, and that is our missing angle D. We can fill in our answers now. Angle C is 147 degrees. Angle D is 33 degrees. And the key takeaway from this video is to remember that opposite angles of intersecting lines are equal to each other, and the sum of adjacent angles is always 180 degrees. That wraps up this video. I hope you found it helpful.